Hi, everyone, and welcome to the screencast for January 13th. Schedule for the week. A few things to be aware of. We have a learning supports meeting if you're part of that team on Monday morning. We have an MLK music performance, grade 5 at 1:30 on Tuesday. We also have our PTA meeting on Wednesday at 6:30, staff meeting at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, and various and sundry other things throughout the week. Just a reminder, no school on Monday, January 21st. We have MLK Day, which is good to know. And then just looking ahead, Friday, February 1st, that will be a work day. In the morning, we will have a training on trauma, and that's district-wide. And then in the afternoon, that's a grading day or whatever we want to call that for you to be able to complete some of your grades and things for a report card. So I have a lot of information to share with you, and so I'm hoping that you'll be able to listen to this and look at the Google Slides later on just to make sure that you have everything. So I tried to put it all in one place. We had the District Instructional Supports meeting. That's the meeting that Becky and Diane go to, and some things that we wanted to share from that. At the top here, a little information about ELA units of assessments. Assessment units, you now have the ability to give the assessments in small groups, which should decrease the amount of time for testing. I know that's something I've talked with pretty much all of you regarding. We want to work on that so you have more time for instruction. And just so you know, some schools are already doing this. If you look here, there are links. I know Becky, I think, shared this out already. If I'm in grade 2 and I click on unit 3, it's going to come up, and you will be able to access all of this information to be able to share and use to do those assessments a little bit differently. So just be aware of that. I encourage you to take a look at it and use that, because this is another way to cut down on the amount of time we're spending on assessments. I realize it's not perfect, and there's pluses and minuses to it, but give it a shot. I encourage you to try at least one of those units this year. BAS assessments. Just know that there's a change here. Teachers are going to be responsible for entering their BAS information into Infinite Campus on your own, so make sure that you know that, and that needs to be completed. Basically, it looks like it's 2 weeks within your release day for BAS assessments for grades 1 through 5, so be aware of that. Mid-year progress report assistance for grading. There will be a drop-in help available on that district workday from 12 to 4 in ESC room 502. So if you're having trouble entering information, just know that that's there. There will also be, I'm going to see if we can have you call in if you need help too, rather than having to go over there. I know that there's some people who are more comfortable with that in our building, so hopefully we'll be able to support ourselves on that day too. Share 271 Learns, great summer professional development opportunities. There's some different dates here, June 18th through the 20th, as well as August 13th through the 15th. I have a link here to the fact that talks about that, but what you can do if you want to share something, if you want to put in a proposal. You do get professional development pay if you choose to be part of that, if you would like to go to that. So I really encourage you to do that. There's some really great things that happened last year, and I know there will be this year too. Just a reminder, content is continuing to be added to math and ELA through those digital content trackers. I might be saying that wrong, but just know that there's still more and more things that are being put in there. And you as teachers, if you're doing something that's really helpful, add that in there for your grade level across the district to be able to access to. I think that's been shared with you before, but just keep looking at that. A lot of new things are happening, and people are trying to add things there to make it more user-friendly for you as you do your units. District Learning Supports update, and that is Leanne Wesleski and Rachel Hammerberg, and these are a few of the things that they shared. Asset-based profiles, that's a way to learn about the strengths of students. You might have heard about that. That's being used especially with some of our EL students in other schools and maybe a little bit here, but it's just looking at what are the strengths of our students. So be aware of that. You might hear about that. If you want more information, let me know. School lunch, that was something that was discussed at Learning Supports. Leftover food, what can we do? Is that something that we could share with Second Harvest? Is there potential of a share table? Milk, one thing that was talked about, and Lisa, I need to check with you on this, but it sounds like students aren't required to take it. I know that's different from when I was a teacher. The idea being we're trying to cut down on waste and what can we do with that waste. One thing that came across strongly is that we are fortunate to have a strong kitchen team at Westwood, and we appreciate all they're doing. These are more things looking across district-wide about what can we do with leftover food. Can we have a share table to try to help some of our students that might not have as much, but that also brings up other issues too. So just be aware that's something that's being discussed. Summer school, some differences here this year. Instead of 4 weeks, it will be 5 weeks of summer school, a little bit different there. There is a deadline to submit student names on February 8th. I'm going to give time to share and give information to enter names at our staff meeting on January 23rd. This will be similar to what we did last year, so you have some time to do that. Just be aware of that and start thinking about that. I'll talk about who can qualify at a later date too. We want to have that information in by February 8th so that our learning supports at the district can turn around, get those names on registration forms so we can give that back to you so you can share that registration information with parents at conferences. So very similar to how we've done it last year as far as sharing that information. I mentioned earlier trauma training on February 1st. That's still being developed, and there's going to be two options. There's more of a beginning training and also an advanced training. So just be aware of that. I know that some of our staff, especially special ed, have had a lot of this training already, but it's something that came across in learning supports as something that we need as a district too. So just know that we have that, and there'll be more information to come. Attendance. One thing I want to share with you about attendance at my meeting that I went to, we know that our goal is to have more students hit 95% attendance because if students are here at least 95%, they're statistically much more likely to make at least a year's growth. And that's a focus across the district and at Westwood. I'm sorry, I only have a screenshot here. I know it's not super clear. But one thing I want to point out for 2017-18 from September through December, we had 64, basically 65% of our students making that 95% goal of attendance at school. And this year we're at almost 74%. So that's a substantial gain, and you can see that across all buildings. So that's exciting to see. We are going to do some things to continue on that at conferences. I will again have attendance information for you to share with families, so know about that. We'll continue to focus on that at Westwood. Anything you can do to continue to stress attendance with families is valuable. I really appreciate that. Just shining a little bit more of a light on that is making a difference. So let's continue to do that. Typically right at holiday times, our attendance goes down some as people go on vacations. I realize that, but let's keep focusing on that too. All right, a few other things to talk about. LCV literacy walkthroughs, that will be February 4th. As you remember, we've done one of those earlier this year as well as last year, and from that, it's just a way for us to make sure that we're being consistent across the district and look at things that we're doing well and things that we can keep working on. So just be aware of that's coming up. Math and Literacy Night, February 28th. Right now our working title is Stomp, Chomp, and Read. Are you interested in helping? We could use some help. There will be a brief meeting after school on Tuesday. Thank you, Becky, for leading that. Love the name, but we need to somehow include math in that too. So if you have some great ideas on how to change that name a bit or tweak it so we can make sure math is included, that would be great. Really looking forward to that night. It's a fun night. Math testing, February 5th and 6th. Just a reminder that all elementary schools are doing this. It's an opportunity for us to check in where our kids are and see how we're doing. So just know that testing will take place on those mornings, and we want to have everybody starting somewhere between 9 and 10, and we'll get specific start times from grade levels shortly. The reason why we want to have everybody start at the same time, there's a few reasons. One, if we're all doing it at the same time, we can have the building a little bit quieter and makes it a little bit more orderly. Also, Kathy and has to start those testing windows, and we want to make it as easy for that so that it is clear on what we need to do. So more information to come on that, but know that it's on the 5th and 6th. We will have everybody doing those in the morning and have a little bit more of a consistent start time for grade levels. So excited about that. Well, that's all I have. Have a great rest of your weekend, and look forward to seeing you all on Monday. Take care, everyone.